Good morning. Oh boy. The title that I've selected today is A Common Reality for the One People. Yes or no? Okay. It seemed as if I woke up, then fell back to sleep throughout the night after listening to Lisa Harrison and the others on the Collective Imagination show last night. I say seemed because that was the theme of my conscious thoughts as I recall yesterday's day and night in meditation this morning. Frankly, this leaves me with more questions than answers, which is so challenging for the rational mind. Is there such a thing as a common reality? Are we really one people? Who is in charge? What role does belief play in our human experience? Does the observer really influence the result? Does the world around us confirm our expectations? What's going on here anyway? As I said, many questions, and many, many more. If I were to put all the questions and all the examples I came up with through the night and since I got up at 3 o'clock this morning, I would not have, the video would be too long. I mean, I consider anything over 20 minutes a long video. I try to keep them normally between 15 and 20 minutes each day. But it would be very long if I put all of the things in. For example, one of the more recent thoughts that I've had within the past 10 minutes is about time. Why do we start the day at midnight? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. We're starting the day when most people will be sleeping. Okay, most people would be sleeping at midnight, or put it another way, midnight or night is the time of our unconscious, the time when we're not awake. And also, we begin each year not with spring when it would be logical to begin it, but in winter, and I'm talking, of course, about the northern hemisphere, which contains presently most of the land mass and most of the world's population. We begin each year in winter, again, a time of sleep, a time of the unconscious. Maybe we're about to change that and actually start the day consciously by starting each day around what we now term 6 a.m. and starting each year in what we now term spring. But of course, there's still the hemisphere issue. But in any case, that's just one of many questions that came to me throughout the night. And I suppose the reason that these questions plagued me is because, number one, I had several conversations yesterday on the phone, unlike the day before. Yes, both of my lady friends from Canada and New York City, I talked with both of them in the daytime. I also talked with a lady friend from England. I also talked with a lady friend from Ohio. I also talked with a lady friend from Florida. I had a very brief conversation with another friend from Vermont, male. Is there any other ones yesterday? Can't remember right off the top of my head. In any case, the content of those conversations was pretty much all over the place. And as I reflected on them this morning, each person that I talked to, especially those that I talked to at some length, have their story. And I believe each one of their stories. Each one of them I believe. And my tendency throughout life has been to believe what people tell me. Unless I'm shown otherwise, I tend to take someone at their word, because I take myself at my word most of the time. And I'll maybe get to that if I remember it. But in any case, I have people that have situations in their life. And in many cases, to me, if I was in their situation, I don't know that I would frame their situation the way that they do. But then again, I look at my own life, and there are different times that I don't know, looking back, if I would have framed my situation the same now as I did then. And I don't know what I would do in the future because it's a new time. Are we all one? Well, I've long, or for a good while, it's not my whole life, but for a good while, I've believed we are one. That we are each mirrors of one another, and that we reflect to one another often the hidden parts of ourselves, the parts of ourselves that we need to look at. Those are the people that come to the forefront in our lives to show us another side of me. And each of you can say, another side of me, another aspect of my own being. I think we are all one. But in a polarized, dualistic world, it certainly does not appear to be one. And it certainly does appear to be extremely diverse. I mean, people are all over the place in not only their experience, but their definitions and their explanations of their experience. Oh, questions. What is reality? What is reality? Now, I think we've all been living in the reality of time and of space and of objects and of land and sea and air and invisible things that we can't see or measure. We all have somewhat of a common reality. We all live in a world that we're becoming aware is insane. I mean, our experience is one, if we look at it with any rational objectivity, we have to say that it's unsustainable. We cannot keep going the way we've been going. That, I think is a consensus reality, although it may not be the dominant reality as far as actual numbers go, because most people are still in the midnight hour. They're still in the winter. They're still in the state of unconsciousness. And yet, even in that unconsciousness, there's an unease, which sometimes manifests as dis-ease in our experience, and certainly in our culture. Something insane is going on and has been going on in the world. Yet, who is in charge? Is it the Illuminati? These dark lords of the world that are so self-centered that they allow, and not only allow, but they actually create negativity. They create things like chemtrails and GMO foods and war and poverty and injustice and violence. They actually create these things because it generates that which makes them feel alive. And how do they get away with this? Because they believe they can, and they have for a long time. And most of the world wasn't even aware of it. But then as people began to wake up and become aware of it, all of a sudden they became aware that people were becoming aware. So they had to step up their plans and increase their violence, increase the war, increase the poverty, increase the injustice, increase all of the negatives, because If they didn't, they would no longer be in control. And they've always felt that they were in control, that they could do whatever they wanted, have whatever they wanted, and not have to pay any consequences, not have any repercussions for their actions and their deeds. I say they, but remember they are a part of us because we are one. We are just aspects one of another. We are the microcosm individually of the macrocosm, the whole. So who is in charge? Is there really a God or a creator or a prime mover or a source or a great spirit that permeates everything that is? Well, I believe there is. I've always believed there is. So my guiding principle has been, I'm here to help establish the kingdom of heaven on earth. And I felt that when I was a boy and a teenager and a young adult as a fundamentalist Christian. I have felt it since I moved away from fundamentalist Christianity into a more broad-minded perspective of reality, like unity or science of mind or even Hinduism, which tends to embrace all things, or the Baha'i faith or whatever. I've moved into a broader mindedness and a more open-heartedness, but yet my thing is, God has always been in charge. Even when it doesn't appear that God is in charge, God is in charge. And I've believed that thing that my mom gave me a long time ago. Romans 8:28, for we know that all things work together for good to those that love God and are the called according to his purpose, as I memorized it. And so I've had this concept for a very long time, that no matter how bad it seems, God has a better plan, and all that's going on is part of God's plan. All of it. Even the negative crap. Even the negative shit. But the world around does confirm our expectations, I've also found. Because when I'm expecting something, oftentimes that's what happens. Not always. Sometimes I don't. Like when they came after my house again in December, I didn't expect that because I honestly thought it was over. I honestly thought the ordeal was over. So there are challenges to my perceptions. And sometimes I doubt myself. Like, for example, when I thought I knew my twin flame earlier in the year, I was convinced that she was my twin flame. And yet it didn't manifest the way that I thought it would. And so ultimately I came to the realization that I had to let that go and that I was wrong, that I was mistaken. And then I'm allowing myself to be loved by someone that's willing to express their love. And when I start allowing that, other people start expressing their love. Like with the most recent workshop and the video that I shared a couple of days ago. Other people are loving me because I allowed someone that loved me to love me. Instead of trying to make someone else love me to fit into my box and love me the way that I needed to be loved at this point in time, I released that and let the love in that was already there. That was manifesting itself right at that particular time. Do our expectations, what did I say? Do our expectations, are they confirmed in the world around us, in our experience? To some degree, yes, that's true. Do the observers influence the results? Scientific tests with the double slit experiment seem to indicate yes. If you're looking for a particle is what you get. If you're looking for a wave is what you get. Depends on what you're looking for, what you set up the experiment to measure. And you get what you're measuring. Lots of questions. Lots of questions. So where are we? Where are we? What's going on here anyway? Well, I believe what's going on here is that the universe is finally giving us the end result of all of this experimentation that we've been going through as prodigal sons and daughters of the living God, or of Creator Spirit, giving us the culmination of this phase of our evolution where we're coming home and we're moving back in from the unconscious to the conscious. We're becoming aware of ourselves and our place in the world and the world around us. We're becoming aware of it so that the world now can never be the same again. It's changing, and it's changing forever. Or it's changing till the next time it changes. But it's changing for a long period of time. As Tut said, happy, Ron, always lasts longer than sad. Slow never fails to arrive, and forever has only just begun. Proving once again, Ron, that time is always on your side, the universe. P.S. And proving once again, Ron, how much I love you. You see, creation has a creator, and the creator's purpose has always been that we would wake up in the pig pen of our world experience, of our physical experience, and bring home our divinity and merge it with our humanity and create a new heaven and a new earth. A new world where questions that we've long had in the darkness are finally answered. And the answer is peace on earth. And the answer is a world that works for everyone. That, my friend, is where I believe we are in May, on May the 8th, 2013. Thank you for listening. Namaste.